On my previous blog tutorial, we made this blog here. However, someone asked if they could add tagging to it. So what I've done is I've taken the blog we had here and I've added these little badges to show off what the tag is. And you can even go to /tags, for example, and we'll see all of the tags we have available. So we have 3 with code, and you can click on them and you'll get a page showing all of the blogs from that. And then you can click around and see the individual tags. And these come and appear everywhere where the blogs are. So for example, when we're on the blog as well, we have those tags. And again, you can click on them. And then when we go back to the blog as well, you'll see we have this little card with the blog here. So today we're going to be doing a tutorial on how you can add that to your Velite Markdown blog. Let's get started. So what I've done here is I've opened up our repo here and I've run the dev server. So we have the blog that we made in that last video. And as I said, this is made with Velite and NextJS. First thing we're going to want to do is install a couple of packages just so we're set up and don't need to use the terminal later. First one is going to be called GitHub-Slugger, like so. And the next ones we're going to install are actually going to be Shadcn UI components. So we come up here, obviously we've got ui.shadcn.com. And the first one we're going to add is the badge. So for the pmpm command, it's going to be pmpm dlx Shadcn UI at latest add badge. Then I'm actually going to do the same thing here with card. So we need to add the badge and card component. Once we've got that added, what we need to do is change our Velite config a little bit so we can change the collection to accept tags now. So we're going to go to velite.config.ts. If I just get rid of this terminal down here, what we're going to do is add a new line onto it. So we're going to call that tags here. And this is going to be an array. So it's going to be s.array like so. And then inside of the array, we're going to want to make sure that everything's a string. So we're going to do s.string. And then outside of that array there, we're just going to make it optional like so. So using our validation there, what we've got now is on our collection of posts here. So posts, define collection. We've now added tags in here. What this now allows you to do is add tags to your blog post. So if I go into my content blog, I've actually added some of these earlier. This is how you're going to define your tags now. You're going to do it in a string array like so. Make sure you are actually using the array like that and using obviously the quotations here and putting in this string. It's just going to make it nice and easy. But you can even add spaces to this as well. So I could call this, let's say, rehype pretty. And I'll save that, and we'll see later. This is why we use GitHub-Slugger. Now that we've got that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save all of these changes just as stage 17, and then I'll call it something like setup tags, like so. That's so you can follow along at home. As I said before, everything's going to be in that GitHub repo, and you'll be able to follow the commits for each chapter for what has changed. The next thing we need to do is add in our actual tag component. As I said, we've installed that badge component, so let's go ahead and use it. What we're going to do is we're going to go up here. I'm just going to collapse everything here. I'm going to go into components, and then in components, I'm going to create a new one called tag.tsx. In here, what I'll do is do an interface tag props like this. And then on tag props, I'll do tag. That's going to be a string and required. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put current. And that's going to be optional, and that's going to be a Boolean. And then I'm also going to put count, which is going to be optional, and it will be a number. Now, in the actual function, we're going to do export function tag, like so. Use those 3 props we've just defined in the interface, so tag, current, and count. And then we'll put that on here as tag props. And then inside of this, what we're going to do for now is just simply return a link, which is going to be from next/link. Like so. And then I'm just going to call this tag for now in our curly brackets here, like so. We've got that curly brackets. This is going to be coming from next/link. It's going to want a href, so let's just pass that in. We're going to use a template literal here, and this is going to be /tags. And then what we'll do is we'll do a $. In this $, we're actually going to use a slug function. So it's going to be slug, and then inside of here, it's going to be tag. This slug function is coming from GitHub-Slugger, as I said earlier. And as I said, we have that tag rehype pretty. What this slug function does is essentially make sure that it's all good for URLs. So this tag is just going to look like this on the URL. So it's going to add a dash into it so we can reference it nicely in URLs. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to import that. So it's going to be import slug like so from, and then that's going to be GitHub-Slugger like that. So now we've got that link, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add it to the post item, and that's so we can go ahead and see our changes being made as we make them. So I'm going to go to post item here. What I'm going to do underneath here is we're going to add a div that contains all of the tags. So it's going to show all of our tags. What we need to do first is obviously add it to our interface up here. So in our interface, we're going to add tags, and that's just going to be an array of string, like so. And again, that can be optional there. We now need to add that to our props down here, like so. So we've now got that tags there, and we can now go ahead and use that. Under this h2 here, and then under this div here, I'm going to add my tags in. So it's going to be div. We're going to put a class name on it of flex, and then gap-2. And then within here, what we'll do is we'll do our curly brackets. We'll do tags. We'll obviously add the question mark there because it can be undefined because we've made it optional. Then in here, what we'll do is we'll do tag, and we're just going to map over each of our tags and return the tag component for each one. So we're going to put tag and then tag, like so. And then we'll also make the key of all of these the tag name as well, like this, and go ahead and save that. We need to import our tag component from the one we've just created. So for me, that's ./tag, like that. And then what we'll be able to see is our tags pull through, but we first need to add them to show the post item which one it is. On this page, so latest posts, that was our home page. So we're going to go into app, page.tsx, and we should see that post item there. So obviously we're in that home page.tsx, and we'll see where we've used post item earlier. We can now come in here and say tags is going to be equal to post.tags. So that .tags bit, as we've said, we changed our collection earlier, so post now does have a tags item on it. Now that we've saved that, we can go ahead and do all of that, and you'll see that we get our tags appear here, but they're not styled nicely like we want them. So let's go ahead and style it, and now we'll be able to actually see our changes coming through here. Let's go back to our tag component. On this link here, what we're first going to do is we're going to add a class name. That class name is going to be equal to, and then we're going to use curly brackets here, because what we're going to be using is the shadcn UI badge variants. So we don't actually need the badge component itself, but we installed it so we could get these badge variants. Now in here, what we're going to do, so we're going to say the variant is going to equal, and we're going to say if it's current, so we're going to use a ternary here, we'll use a question mark. If it's current, we're going to set it to the default style, and if it's not current, we'll set it to secondary, like so. Go ahead and save all of that, and you'll see that we now get our tags nicely styled. Now, you can leave them like this rounded style, or you could add a couple of class names onto it, but we're going to add a class name anyway, as we don't want any underline, which it will sometimes underline it if you're in the pros section. So in this object, we're going to add a new one called class name, and this is just going to be no-underline. And then, as I said, I'm going to change this to rounded-MD, so it's rounded medium. I think that looks a bit better for our tags here. So your component should now look like that. And you can actually go ahead and click on these, but obviously you're going to get a 404 page because it's going to take you to /tags/code. And as I said, with this rehype pretty one, it takes you to rehype-pretty instead. So there we go. We've actually made our tag component and pulled it through onto this. Next, we'll pull it through onto the actual blog post itself. So when we click onto that blog/page, we're going to see that there. So we need to go ahead and add that. To do that, we're going to go into blog, and then our ..slug here, and then our page.tsx. And then we're just going to work out where you want to add that. I'm going to add it under the h1. So in here, I'm going to do div, give it a class name, similar one, flex, gap-2, and then I'm actually going to do a margin bottom of 2, like so. And then in here, we're going to go over the same thing. So we have that post from earlier. So it should already have the tags item on it. And then we're going to map over them. And what we'll do is we'll do tag like that. And then we're simply just going to return that tag component again that we used earlier from @/component/tag is where it's being imported. So it's the one we created. We'll make the tag equal to tag, obviously. And then we'll also add a key again. And again, that's going to be the tag key. So pretty similar to what we've just done before. When we go ahead and save that, you'll see our tags are now showing up on our blog post like so. So we've actually now added in our tag items on the blog and also on the sort of post item display here. We're going to want to update this everywhere. So let's just make sure we've covered all of the post items. Let's go to post item. Let's double click this or right click this. And then we'll go to references. So it looks like we've got the app one, which we just changed. We've got the app/blog one, which we haven't changed yet. So let's jump into here, and you'll see we don't have the tags. So this is now in blog and then page.tsx. So this is the page we get to here. You'll see we haven't got our tags here yet. Reason for that is we need to add them in. So let's go ahead and add tags onto this destructured object here. And then again, we'll add tags onto our post item here, and we'll call that tags like so. And we should see we now get our nice things there. So our nice tags are showing up, and that works with the pagination and everything we set up previously. So now as I said, we have our post item updated to have our little tag buttons. And at the moment, what we need to do is set up the page for it. And we also need to add in that tag component that's going to show you what all of the tags are that are available and the tags page itself. I'm going to go ahead and save this all as stage 18. And that's just going to be add tags to post item like so. And go ahead and commit that, and that's going to stage all of that for us. And then we'll move on to adding the list of tags, and then eventually adding the actual tag page itself. Moving on to the next bit then, what we're going to do is you're going to want to go to your blog page if you weren't there already, but we left off on that. Then we're going to go to the actual page in here. So again, it's going to be blog, not the slug one. Make sure you're on this page.tsx here. Then within here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and collect our tags. But before we do that, we need a couple of functions to be able to do that. So to do that, we're going to go down to our lib and then utils.ts. And we're going to define two functions. Our first one is just going to be export function get all tags like this. We're going to take in posts, and that's just going to be an array of posts like these functions above. And then once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're just going to return const tags, and that's going to be a record, and then we'll make this a record of string, number, like this, and we'll set that equal to an empty object for now. Next bit, what we'll do is we'll do posts.forEach, and then each of these posts here, what we're going to do is we're then going to map over the tags, so we need to do post.tags. We need to add a question mark because, again, we made tags optional, so they're not always there. And then we do forEach, and then we do tag, like so. And then in this forEach, so we're mapping over every tag on a post here. What we're going to do is we're going to say tags, so that's the object or the record we created up here. So we're going to add in a tag with our tag name. We're going to set it equal to, and then what we'll do is tags tag again, like so. And then we'll use the nullish operator here, or 0, and then +1 like that. Now, what this is doing is essentially shorthand for saying if the tag with that tag name doesn't exist, so say we were running over the tag code, if the code entry isn't in this object already, set it to 0 +1, or just add 1 to it. So that's shorthand for that. So all we need to do now is just return our tags. And now we have a function that's going to be able to pull through our tags. The next bit that you might want to do, though, is sort your tags by count. So that's how we can display the ones that obviously we have the most blog posts on first. So we'll do an export function here. And then we'll do get posts by, or get, this is going to be an export function here. So we'll do export function sort tags by count. And that's going to be tags. And then we'll do a record of string number like we had above because that's our tags. And then in here, what we're going to do is return. And we're going to do object dot keys. So we're going to map over the keys like so of tags. And we're actually just going to sort them. So we'll do a sort function. In that sort function, it's going to be A, B. And then it's simply just going to be tags brackets A. Or tags brackets B, sorry, square brackets, minus tags brackets, square brackets A, like so. What this first sort function here is doing is it's just going to go and from our tags object, as I said, it's going to be, let's say if we had code appeared 5 times, it's just going to go ahead and compare all of the tags and put all of the highest ones at the top and then all of the lowest ones at the bottom. So as I said, we can now sort our tags by that count. Now that we've done all of that, we can go back to our page in our blog here, so that page.tsx, and we can start to use these and pull them through. So what we'll do at the top here, underneath all of this, is we'll do const tags, and that is going to equal to get all tags, and then we'll pass through posts, and we've used posts earlier, so that was imported on a previous step. And then we're also just going to do sorted tags. So const sorted tags, and that's going to equal to that function we just created. So sort tags by count from utils, and then we'll pass through tags into that. So now we have our sorted tags array that we can map over. What we need to do now is go ahead and add in that card to show everything. To do that though, we're going to change a couple of things about the layout of this page here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to a grid, and that's going to allow us to add in or change dynamically sort of the size and width of everything as the page resizes. What we first need to do though is add in a couple of new divs. So underneath this div, we're going to add two divs like so. So we're going to do div and then div. And then what we'll do is we'll cut these two here. So we'll just get rid of the closing brackets there. And then underneath everything, including the query pagination, we're going to add the ending to those divs. So here, we're going to add it like that. So now that we've got that set up, we can go ahead and add in our new class names so that we can style this. On this first div, this is going to be the one that will control our grid from. What we're going to do is we're going to add grid. We're going to say a grid with cols 12. So it's going to have 12 columns. We're going to do a gap of 3 between them. And then we'll add a margin top of 8 here. And what you're going to want to do is go ahead and delete this class name off of this HR here, so off of this break here. And then in this div here, what you're going to want to do is a class name. We'll set the col span of this to 12. We'll set the column start of this to column start 1, like so. But then when it's small, so when the screen size allows for it, so it's a bit bigger, we're going to set this to a col span of 8. This is going to be what handles, as you saw in the demo when we have the tags on the side here, if the screen is big enough to allow that. But now we actually need to add in, obviously, the card for our tags here. So underneath query pagination here, and then underneath this first div, we're going to be using our shadcn card. So you're going to want to import card from that @components UI/card, so the one we added with shadcn. Then we're going to add a couple of class names on to this one. So the class names we're going to use for this are going to be col-span-12, row start-3. We're going to do a height of fit here. We'll do a small, and that will be col span and then 4. So again, that's what we're controlling, how we're controlling whether it takes up certain space. And then we'll also do a col start-9 when it's small as well. And then when it's small, we'll also do a row start-1. Sorry, not there. We'll do small row start-1 like so. And that's all you need for the class on that. Within this, we're going to add in the card header, and that's just going to be to display our tag's title. So we'll come in here and we'll do card header like so. And then in here, we'll do card title. And again, these are all imported from that card component. And we'll call this tags here. If you scroll down now, you can see our card is being built out at the bottom here. And as I said, if we resize the window, it will show on the side. But let's just get this set up with all of our tags first. Underneath card header now, what we're going to do is add card content like so. We'll give that a class name. That's going to be flex, flex-wrap to make sure it wraps nicely. And we'll give everything a gap of 2. Now, in card content, what we're going to do is we're going to use our sorted tags. So we've got that sorted tags here. We'll do .map like so. And then on here, what we'll do is each tag. And then from each tag, we're just going to return, again, that tags component we created earlier, so the tag one. We're going to give it the tag name, which again is just the tag prop that we've got there from our map component or our map function here. We'll give it a key because we need a key as it's now a list. And again, that's going to be tag. But now we can also pass it through a count. And the count of this is simply going to be tags. So it's what we pulled through earlier. And then the tag name. So this is how we're going to get the count. Because as I said, tags is actually just an object with the name, the key being the name of the tag, and then the value being the count of the tag. So how many times it occurs. And again, we'll make this a self-closing tag element here. Like so. And there you go, you see we've got our tags coming through here. But what you'll notice is we haven't got the count coming through yet. Let's go ahead and see why that is. Let's jump back into our tag here. And it's because we haven't actually added the logic to add the tag in here. So we come in here, what we're going to do is we're going to say count, and then we'll use a question mark. So we're doing a ternary here. So if the count is a truthful value, so anything above 0 basically, and not undefined, what we're going to do is we're going to use a template like this. And then we're just going to put in brackets here, but then we'll do our template syntax here. And then we'll pass through, again, count like so. And then, again, with this ternary here, we need to say, obviously, if it's null, we'll just return null, so don't render it. And we'll go ahead and save that. And you'll see it will update, so we have the count of how many times each tag is occurring here. And again, it's sorted by how many times it occurs, being at the top. with code being the most, React obviously with 3, and then blog with 1 entry. And then we've added our tag component here. We can actually do the same thing now to various other pages. So we can add this anywhere you want, but we're going to add this next to a tags page that we make ourselves because we need now a page to show each individual tag. Now that we've got our tags showing down here, let's just go ahead and show that if we resize this a bit, once it hits a certain point, you'll see the tags go to the side there, and they'll wrap for the amount of available space there. So if we enlarge the screen, you'd get like 2 or 3 per line there. Let's go ahead and make that back to this size so you can see the code better. What I'm going to go ahead and do here is commit this all as stage 18, and then we'll just say add tags card, like so. Make sure all of that's committed. As I said, the next bit that we need to tackle is the actual tags page. So if we go to /tags, and then also what happens when we click on an individual tag. To do so, we're going to come up to app here. We're going to do new folder, and we're going to do tags. So as I said, that's going to be in your app folder. And the same as we did for the previous ones, we're going to do a page.tsx to make that NextJS page. We're going to do export default async function, like so. And then we'll call that tag page, like this. Or tags page. Let's call that tags page, like so. And then we'll go ahead and fill that out with some of the styling we want. The other thing we're going to do is at the top, we're going to write some metadata as we've done previously. Let's just do that now to make sure we've covered that off. So we'll do export const metadata. And again, this is for the SEO and just sort of the page title. We'll make sure we're importing that metadata type from Next to make sure that we've got the structure correct. All I'm going to add for this one is going to be a title, and I'll just call this tags, and a description. So if I add a description here, we'll call this, let's say, topics I've written about, like so. Now in the tags page here, what we're going to do is we're going to get all of the tags first, as we need to display all of them. So in our curly brackets here, what we'll do is const tags, and this is going to be the same as before. We do get all tags from @lib/utils, and then we get posts as well. And again, posts is going to be imported not from that delete there. We're going to import posts from our hashtag that we set up in the previous one. Just open something up there, but that's going to be from. And then it's going to be that hashtag site/content like that, and this is going to be posts. Now that we've got that, we're going to want to sort these again on this page. We're going to do const sorted tags. And again, that's just going to equal to sort tags by count. And then we'll add tags into that like so. Now that we've saved that, we can go ahead and add some of the markup for this page. To do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to return a div. This div here is going to have a class name of container. It's going to be similar to our other pages. It's going to have a max width of 4XL. It's going to be padding Y of 6. And then if it's large, we'll add a padding Y of 10, like so. Inside of this div, we'll then have another div that's going to have class name. It's going to be flex, flex-col, items-start, gap-4. It's medium. We're going to do flex-row. And then we'll do medium justify between. And then after that, what we'll do is we'll also make sure the gap is changed as well. So we're going to do MD and then gap 8, like so. And then within that div is where we're going to add our header. So in here, we're going to do another div though. So in this div, we've got 2 divs here, and then we're going to add a third. This div here, we're going to add a class name onto it. So that's going to be class name. This is going to be flex-1 space -y-4, like so. And then in here is where we're going to have our heading. So it's going to be heading 1. And then we'll do inline block, inline-block, like so. Font-black. We'll do text-4XL. And then we'll do large, and then text-5XL, like so. And then in here is we're just going to add tags like so. What we can do now is we can go to our page. So it's going to be /tags, like that. And you'll see we've got our header up there. What we can also do is underneath this div here and this one here is we can add our divider here. So we'll add a HR here, and then we'll do a margin Y of 4, like so. We'll make that self-closing. You'll see we get that nice little underline there. And this is where we can now return a list of our tags. Now, I'm not going to style these in a card or anything, as this is simply the tags page. What we're simply going to do is we're just going to do sorted tags.map, Let's make sure that that's a question mark there in case it doesn't exist. We'll do .map. And then in here, we're also going to do tag. And then we're simply going to return that tag component we created earlier as we've been doing previously. So the tag is going to be equal to tag here. And then we'll do the count as well. So the count is going to be equal to tag brackets or tags brackets tag, square brackets. And then obviously we need a key again as well with the value of tag. And we'll make that self-closing. There we go. We've got our tags showing up in here. What we can do is wrap all of these in a div. If we do div with a class name, we'll give this a flex-wrap, and a gap of 3. Like that. Go ahead and close this off, and then get rid of this closing tag, and then wrap all of that in it. It's a /div, like so. Go ahead and save that. And now we have our tags page here. You can play around with the gap for whatever values you like. Gap 2 looks quite nice there, actually. And you'll see again, as we click on them, they won't currently work, but they will take you to the correct link. So now let's go ahead and actually make that page. So when we click on it, it all gets working. What we're going to do is we're going to come on to our tags here. We're going to click new folder. And then what we'll do here is we'll do square brackets, and we're just going to call this tag like so. Inside of here, we're going to create a new file that's going to be called page.tsx. So this is going to be, as I said, the page for anything which is tag slash code. This is going to be the page for that. What we're going to do in here is we're going to set up our interface first, as we need to read the params. We need to be able to get the tag value that we've used for square brackets there from NextJS. So I'm going to call this tag page props. This is going to equal to params, so that's going to come through from NextJS. And then we're going to call this tag, and that's going to be a string, as that's what we're going to be expecting here. The next bit that we're going to want is we're going to want to get the page. So we're going to do export default function tag page, and then in here we're going to do our curly brackets. That's going to get a prop of params, so this is what NextJS passes through with this tag bit here. And then obviously we're going to add our TypeScript types to that with tag page props like so. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start pulling some stuff through. So first we're going to do const, and we're going to use the shorthand here to destructure it, and that's going to be equal to params. So with the tag here, so we're getting the tag name, but the tag name is actually going to be the GitHub slugged version, so it's going to have the dashes in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up something called title. So I'm going to say the title is just going to equal to the tag.split, and then I'm going to split the tag on the dash. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm just going to join all of it back together with a space. So this is going to be replacing dashes with spaces, so we can display the title of something like Rehype Pretty without a dash in the middle. You don't need to do this, but that's what I'm going to do. Next, what we need to do is we need to set up a function to get all of our posts by the slug or the tag that they have on them. And as I said, because we're now passing through, we're only getting the slug, so it's going to have that dash in there. We need to create a new function to do that. So we're going to come down to our utils.ts here, and we're going to create a function called export function get posts by tag slug, like so. This is going to take in the posts array, so it's going to be posts, and then an array of post, like so. And then we're also going to pass it through the actual tag that we want to match again, so that's going to be tag string. Inside of this function, we're simply going to return posts.filter. So we're going to run a filter function on the post. And then in here, we're then going to do if. We'll check that the post has any tags first. So we're going to do if post.tags return false, like so. That's post, sorry, not posts, like that. So we're checking if it has any tags at all. If it doesn't, let's just get rid of it from the array, as we know that's not going to be one with a slug on it. Next, what we need to do is create a slugified tags array. So like slugified tags. That's going to be equal to post.tags, again post, sorry, post.tags.map, and then tag. And then we're going to map all of the tags on a post to the slugified version. So that's going to be using that slug function that we've used earlier from GitHub Slugger. So you'll see it will add an import from GitHub Slugger. So it's going to be import slug from GitHub Slugger. So what we're doing here, as I said, is we're matching the slug against all of the tags on a post to show the posts that have that tag on them. Now that we've done that, we can simply return, and then we're going to do slugified tags dot includes, and then we'll do tag like so. So this is checking, as I said, that the tag here is included in the slugified tags. So we're matching all of the tags on a post. So we have an array of tags on a post. We're matching it to one that we want to get specifically. So say we had code, and we're just returning true if that is there. And that's all in our filter function as we're returning that. So this function now is going to get all of the posts that have that tag on it. So if we pass through code, it's going to get all of the posts that have the code tag on them. Let's go ahead and use that command. So let's go back to our page in here, which is in that page.tsx for that brackets tag here. And let's pull them through. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to call this display posts like we've done previously. So in display posts, I'm actually just going to call this equal to, and then this is going to be get posts by tag slug, the function we just created in our lib/utils. We're going to pass it through our posts, and we'll pass it through our tags as well. Now, obviously, these are going to come from, this is just going to be tag, sorry. And then posts here is just going to come from that import from delete. But again, we're going to change this to make sure this is hashtag /content, like so. So we have our display posts. Next, we'll do our const tags so that we can use this later. That's going to be get all tags, like so. And then we'll pass in posts. And then we're also going to do our sorted tags again, as we've used previously. And that's just going to equal to sort tags by count. And again, that's going to be with tags in it like that. Now we can go ahead and get all of the markup done for that. Now, because a tag page is pretty much identical to the blog page, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this page here. So we have all of the markup for this blog page. So this is the one not in the slug bit here. I'm going to copy all of these divs here. So if I go ahead and copy all of that. And the reason is, as I said, they share pretty much the exact same layout except for the title. Now, you could create a sort of layout component for this to do this sort of in a generic way. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete pagination, as I don't actually want the pagination. We're going to make sure our imports are okay. So we're going to add our import for PostItem. And then we're also going to add our imports for the card header, the card title, and the card content. And then finally our import for the tag here. So let's make sure that's from our components tag. And then go ahead and save all of that. So if I click on one of these tags now, we'll see tag/code. And you'll see it's actually showing everything with that tag code there. And then it's still showing our code down below. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to remove that description, as I personally don't want that. I'm going to change this blog title here to show our title that we defined earlier, and go ahead and save that. So you'll see we've got code there. On this H1, I'm going to add capitalize. So that's just going to make sure that looks a bit nicer by capitalizing our slug for us. But then everything else is pretty much going to remain the same, and you'll see it's pretty much working already. Because I've copied that over, as I said, you could create a layout component for that, but you may want to change the styling of this tag page to however you like it, so I'm going to leave it like this. There is one other thing we need to do. As we now know what tag page we're on, we're going to want to update the tag down here to match that with which one we clicked on, so it highlights it. So if you remember, we set up that current prop, and that was just a Boolean. So what we'll do here is we'll just say if the tag is equal to, and then what we'll do is the current tag. So that was from earlier. So we had tag up here as well. So what we actually need to do is change the name of one of these. So what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to change this tag here, hit F2, and that will change it. Actually, we're not going to change it there, sorry. We're going to change it down here because that one can't be changed. We'll change this one to T, like so. So it's going to look like that. And we'll just say if tag equals to the tag that we defined earlier. But we do need to slugify this as well. So we need to put slug, like so. And again, that slug bit here is going to be imported from GitHub Slugger. So this is what it should look like now, and you'll see it's now highlighting the tag we're on. So as we click around on these tags here, you'll see it will scroll to the top, and then it will show us which one is we're currently on, and you'll see the URL is now tags/code. And we also have that tags component here for /tags. So that's pretty much all of that set up. Now what we need to do is just make sure we've got generate static params. So this is actually being run at build time. And we also need to make sure we've got the metadata for it. First one we'll do is we'll just do the metadata here. So we'll do export, and then it's going to be async function, like so. Generate metadata, and that's just going to be a function here, which is going to take in our params. Our params are going to be of type tag page props, like so. And then this is actually going to return a promise with that metadata type from NextJS coming in. Now that we've got all of that, we can run our function inside of here. So this is simply just going to run a const, and then we'll again get our tag name, so tag, and that's going to come from the params prop that we've passed it. And then we'll do return. And in this return, again, all I'm going to add is a title. The title is just going to be the tag, and then we'll do description. And for the description, what I'll do is I'll use a template here, and we'll just say posts on the topic of, and then I'll use the $ and curly brackets here to add in the tag name. So the title here is going to be tag. So as you see, it's changed up here to the name of the tag that we're on. And the SEO description is just going to be posts on the topic of, and then the tag name as well. As I said, the next thing we need to do is our generate static params, and this makes sure this is run at build time instead of on the server. So what we can do is export const generate static params, and that's going to equal to a function here, like so. And then inside of here, we'll do const tags. And again, we're going to get all tags, same way we have before with our posts here. And then we'll do const path. So we need to build out the paths here. So in this, we're going to do object.keys. And then we'll get the tags like so. And then what we'll do is we'll map over all of those tags. So we're going to have each tag. And then we're going to return an object here. So we need to do brackets and then the object to shorthand return that. And that's going to be with a key of tag, and then the value is going to be our slug function wrapped in the tag here. And now we can simply go ahead and return that paths object here. I've just imported something there. Let's delete that. And then we can return that object here, as I said, with return paths, like so. So what this is doing, again, in Next.js is essentially saying, obviously, we know all of the data at build time as our blog is static, as we have all of the blog posts in the files. So it's going to map over all of them and then get what the tag slug is for us and pass that through to params. So at build time here, it's going to build all of the pages for us, and not when we actually click on it. It's not going to do any logic on the server there. It's just going to send through the page that it already knows exists, as we've defined that earlier. So that's what that generate static params bit does. Now that's pretty much everything that we have here, so we should have everything working here. As I said, as you click around your tags here, you've got them. You've got your tags on here as well, and you can click into each separate blog post. It seems we have a bug here, so let's go ahead and fix that quickly. Now the bug that seems to be happening here is if we're on a tag page, what you see is the URL is actually going to tags/blog. So we need to change the post item a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into our post item. So that's going to be PostItem.tsx. Now what I imagine is happening is we're getting this slug through here, but we need to add a starting slash to it to make sure it's not relative, that it's absolute. Because at the moment it's a relative one, so it doesn't have a slash in front of it, so it's just appending to wherever we currently were. If we go ahead and change this to just slash, like so, and then add slug, that should fix that bug there everywhere. So if we click on that, it should now take us to our blog post. And if we click on our tags and stuff, that should all work. So the site there is now nice and working. Again, let's go back to view my blog. We've got all of our tags down here. If I enlarge this, you'll see that our tags come onto the side here. We click around, it pretty much looks like the exact same page there. It's just now these are all of your tags, or all of the ones with that tag on it. And you could also add a link somewhere to the /tags page if you want to. I personally don't. It's just in case someone goes there, because I quite like just having it on the side here. And there's a lot more you can do with this, as I said, but I'm going to leave it like this because that should be everything you need to know to get set up with it. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'll commit all of that code here. We'll commit that as stage 19 and then just adding the tags pages. And that should be everything you need to get started with adding tags to your Velite.js blog. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, all of this code will be on GitHub that you can follow along with. Let me know if you have any more questions or anything else you want to add to this blog post. If you have some good ideas, feel free to submit a pull request as well, and we can add that as well, as I want this template to be pretty much a really good starting point for any beginners to set up pretty much a portfolio page or a blog. And as always, please subscribe for more good content and let me know what tutorials you want to see in the future. Thank you very much.